Hi, fam. Islam, peace and love to everyone. How's everybody? Hey, look, I know it's hot up in here, but you know, we can take it. We'll deal with it.
Especially when you hydrate.
Yes, indeed. Hey, look, this class is going to be on effective use of writs on public officials.
That's right.
Man, they've been dirty.
Yes,
they're
right.
getting real dirty now, man. And I don't know if I sent anything out on the Sister Tracy Hunter. I don't know if everybody looked at it. If you look at it from one point of view, when they dragged out the courtroom, you would think, man, look, our people, man, sick. Because our people are automatically saying she looked crazy and all this stuff, man. You know what I mean? Look at her eyes, like. But if you look at, I sent another video out, and they did nothing but lie on this woman.
Yes.
I mean, when she get out, man, she's gonna have multiple lawsuits on these folks. And these are the things that we're going to be going through, and that we're going through. We're going through it. So we need to learn how to write writs, man, and tackle this stuff effectively. And that's the only way they're going to stop doing what they do. And then once we collectively come together, that's when stuff really going to happen. But as long as we just stay, man, isolated, and everybody's into their beliefs, you know, beliefs means you know now. You know what I'm saying? So as long as we stay into these belief systems, man, we're going to suffer. You know what I mean? Unless you just be quiet. And there's nothing I can do. I can't be quiet, man. You know? Huh? Nah, you know where we come from.
Right.
You know? But we got the brother Kimitu Bay.
Yes.
And he's about to drop this science on writing writs, man. Let's give it up for the brother.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Peace, beloved. Yes. Quickly, I just want to touch on health real quickly before I go into the writs. It's very important that our people be aware of, because we are having a tremendous health problem just besides legal problems, besides financial problems, and we ignore our health problems. And so they got this, as they call, new burger out called the Impossible Burger and Burger King. And people need to be aware that the ingredients is nothing but a GMO ingredient. So I wrote down the ingredients, because I did look it up, and it's just so sad to see our people on these commercials eating these burgers and don't even know what kind of health that they're risking when you would eat these genetically modified organisms. The main ingredient, when you hear them say, oh, it eats like beef, or it bleeds like red meat, the main ingredient that you need to be aware of is this one here, the leg hemoglobin. This is the one that they really did this genetic modification to make it look like it's bleeding like red meat and eating like beef. All right, so they modified this. This is a soy, and they modified this soy. So this is really the main ingredient that they talk about. But this is other ingredients that's actually in this particular burger that they've thrown on the grill. And again, you'll be wondering why we having prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, colon cancer, because we're eating things that's causing health risks to us. So I think it's very important that we put that out there on YouTube so that people can be aware of it, all right? Because this is not vegan at all. This is not vegan, all right? They keep saying that it's a plant food, but it's not a plant food. They're growing it like if though it's a plant, but it's not a plant food at all, right? It's nothing but a GMO, all right? This is what it is. It's like the corn out there. A lot of that corn out there is GMO, all right? So I think it's very important that people be aware of this, because they're flooding the market on commercials several times a day, throughout the day and throughout the week, because they want to push this particular food. And I think that our brothers and sisters out there who are vegan needs to be aware of that, all right? And even with the ones who are not vegans needs to be aware of that. So I think it's very important. All right, so I just wanted to just go over that real quickly. I'm going to state what Dr. Sabi says. What Dr. Sabi said is true. Because of our melanin, we need iron, and plant mineral-based nutrients to sustain ourselves. In the morning, what I do is I take 3 roots: sarsaparilla, burdock root, and dandelion. Teaspoon. The roots now, not the leaves, not the twigs, the roots. Spoonful of that in a bowl. Boiling hot water, put the top on and let it sit for 10-15 minutes. And you drink. No, you're not gonna boil the roots. You're gonna take a scoop of each root, a teaspoon of each root, a teaspoon of sarsaparilla, teaspoon of dandelion, and a teaspoon of burdock root. You put that in a big bowl. Boil your water. Distill, spray, whatever. Boil your water. Put the boiling water on the root. Cover it. Let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. It's going to abstract into the water. Drink that in the morning. The first thing in the morning, you should drink that for your breakfast. I guarantee you, you're going to feel strength. You're going to feel, your body is going to start feeling strength. All right? Because that's that plant iron that's going to keep your body going. And what's good about it, too, when you drink this particular root, you're not going to feel hungry. Because you know the first thing in the morning we like to start putting food in the body. But my experience is that when I do drink this bowl, I can run all day long without no food. All right? So, and of course it deals with any inflammation, arthritis. All right? Because there's food out there that's causing us to have arthritis, like seltzer water, soda. All right? It causes flare-ups in your tissues, in your joints. All right? Which is very dangerous to your blood cells. And this is why you have those pains in your fingers, and your toes, and your knees, and your back, because we are consuming things that's causing us to have inflammation. So if you want to be able, if you want to be able to kill that inflammation, that same bowl of root would do that. That same bowl of roots would definitely do that. You can feel it, you know. And the more you drink it, the more it's going to energize you and make you feel better in your body. You're going to feel it running through you. You're going to feel it running through you. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. If anybody suffers from forms of cancer, like people may know people who has cancer, prostate and all that, especially breast cancer for the females, the best nutrient for that is fenugreek. I don't know if anybody's familiar with fenugreek. Fenugreek is very good for women with breast cancer. Very, very good for her to drink that as a tea and even eat that as a porridge. Fenugreek. Well, if a woman is fennel, it's F-E-N-U, and in Greek, G-R-E-E-K. If a woman is healthy and she just had a baby, if she wants to create more reproduction of milk in her breast, that's the same food that will cause her to do that, because it stimulates the breast. But it's anti-tumor, you know, it kills the tumors in the breast. And it's also good for men too with prostate issues, all right? It definitely kills tumors, all right? Matter of fact, what's good about the fenugreek, which is full of iron also, and other nutrients, what's good about it, it breaks down starch, fat, and sugar. When you drink that, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna actually feel that stuff working on you. Matter of fact, it even give you a good clean out. Because whatever's in your colon tract, it breaks that stuff down. Yes, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So fenugreek breaks down starch, sugar, and fats. That's what's good. Why I'm saying that is because people who suffer from diabetes, right? Fenugreek is excellent for that, because the main cause of diabetes is the fat on the liver, the fat on the kidneys, and fat on the pancreas. So if you want to be able to dissolve that fat, fenugreek is the best food to eat. You can even fix it in the morning as a porridge. Or you can take a tablespoon of it, hot boiling water, mix it in a cup real good, mix it up real good, and you can just drink it. And you'll feel it working on you. You will literally start feeling working on you. You know what I'm saying? And depending on your condition, you may have to do it 3 times a day. You know, and you're going to start noticing a difference. But you got to be consistent, though. One thing I have to say, that when there are health challenges in our system, among our peoples today, we have to be consistent in order to see a result. One of the brothers that we know very well is Minister Brown, who does tap videos for years. And he's going through what you call as a prostate issue. And of course, I took some herbs, boiled it for the brother, and he was drinking the herbs, and the doctor was amazed that the swelling and the inflammation of his prostate going down, and even the fact that they didn't give him any medicine, they was wondering what was he taking, because they couldn't believe how it was being reduced. All right? What I've done for him, so you know, guinea hen weed, which doctors say we call anamu from Latin America, but in Jamaica they call it guinea hen weed. This is for men with prostate. And matter of fact, you don't have to have a prostate problem to drink this. You need to use it as a preventative to keep from having prostate problems, because you have to be wondering why men and women are having these issues in the reproductive system. All right? And there's no accident why we're having issues in the reproductive system. All right? Especially when the sisters get fibroids. All right? That same roots also is a blood cleanser, would help remove those fibroids. Matter of fact, the fenugreek for the sisters, they can use that as a douche. The fenugreek can be used as a douche, and that right there would actually start pulling, drawing, and killing the fibroids and shrinking the fibroids. All right? You can drink it as a tea and then use it as a douche. You know what I'm saying? For the sisters. The fenugreek. Fenugreek is no joke, y'all. It's that powerful. All right? Because if it can kill cancer, you know it's that powerful. So I think it's very important that I start touching on health, because, you know, I just go straight into the legal matters and the financial matters, but I don't talk about health that much, but, you know, quite a few people I know have heart attacks, they've been in the hospital, I've been visiting them, people got issues with health, and so that's been brought to my attention. So I think it's very important that I elaborate on health. Very, very important. Anybody heard of diatomaceous earth? There's two types. All right, you got the industrial and you got the food grade. Diatomaceous earth is another product that you can take half a teaspoon in a glass of water, mix it up real good. The water's gonna look chalky. Don't drink for taste, just drink it. What it does, it actually kills parasites in the gut. Now, let me show you a demonstration that I have experienced. Let me share with you a demonstration that I have experienced. Went over to my mom's house one day to visit mom, or spend some quality time, I should say better, with mom. When I went over to the house, I'm saying, oh my God, Mom, what's going on? It was a real foul odor, where it was a mole. One mole killed another mole, brought it from the back of the house to the front of the house in the front yard. So when I went to go see the mole had maggots, you know, when it's dying and decomposing, you know, it got maggots over it. So what I did is I ran into the garage, got the diatomaceous earth, and I sprinkled it all over the mole. Came back an hour, all those maggots was dead. All those maggots was dead. So if it was killing the maggots on the outside, you know what it's going to do in the inside of your gut.
What do you get?
You can go. You know what, brother? Listen to this. You can Google. You can Google it. Just say diatomaceous earth. Just Google it, and it'll come up.
It's cheaper to go online.
Yes, and get it.
Bulks of that stuff.
Yeah, for $10. You get a big bulk. Yes, for $10. That's right. So, what's good about the diatomaceous earth is good for the skin, for the hair, for the eyes, for the teeth, for the nails, for the bones, right? Because they call it silicone dioxide. It comes from the bottom of the sea, from one of those reefs. This is where the sea moss is at. So the same nutrients that's down here at the bottom of the ocean is the same place where you get the sea moss at. All right? So I think it's very important that I take time out before I start getting into this legal issue that we have and start talking a little bit about this health. Because too many of our people is dying from sugar diabetes, they're dying from high blood pressure. All right? One brother I know, I've been knowing him for years or more. I've been knowing for that brother for 20 years. And brother, he's been slender all his life. Didn't realize he had high blood pressure, massive heart attack, an operation. I had to go visit him. So when I go back to go see him, I'm going to bring him a glass of purple sea moss, I don't know if any of you are familiar with purple sea moss. Well, I get that from one of my Moorish brothers and sisters from Antigua, Barbuda. All right, so they send it to me. So, and I just give it. I don't sell that stuff. I just get it out of love. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not really in the business of selling anything. Anybody know, I just give things freely to our people. Because I love my people. And they dogging us. These devils is dogging us. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I come with this information, so that way we you know, and it's, you know what? And it's so interesting. It's so simple. It's just so simple. You know, to know these different herbs out there that would actually heal the body. You know what I'm saying? And people who are suffering, you know, they need to get the meter to check your blood. They need to get the meter to check your blood as far as the glucose level. All right? Because if you start taking these herbs, you can control these things yourself just with herbs. And your diet, whatever the conditions, peace, brother, whatever the conditions that we are having is because the food that you're eating is causing the condition. All right? So technically what we should really be eating, all right, let me share something with you that you need to be aware of. We already know what hemoglobin is. Hemoglobin we know as blood, right? Is right? Right. There's two types of iron. You got plant iron, right, and ore iron. The animals, if anybody who's a meat eater are eating what you call hemi-iron. The plant iron is non-hemi iron. Very important to know this. This is the iron that Dr. Sabi talks about. This is non-toxic. The meat iron is toxic. And this is where we're getting our conditions from. So I know we all grew up on meat. I did too as a child. I'm 56. We all grew up on meat. I stopped eating meat 30 years ago. All right? When I started getting knowledge of what's going on with the meat. So my point is, when you need to heal your body, you don't heal your body with meat, you heal it with plants, herbs, leaves. You get what I'm saying? There's no such thing as healing the body with meat. You heal the body with herbs, plants, roots. You know what I'm saying? So we need the hemi-iron. The hemi-iron is needed for the blood to keep you strong. So when I was talking about sarsaparilla, dandelion, burdock, that's the hemi-iron. That's the plant iron. That's the plant iron that's going to build up your bones and your blood. You need to clad your blood. Anybody who suffers from diabetes and high blood pressure, you have to drink this plant iron because it's going to help build and clad your blood. Those sugars and those salts that's being processed, they break your blood down. They break it down till it starts getting heavy. And when it starts getting heavy, it starts clotting. That's what happens. So there's no balance in your blood because the fibrin levels is building up. Because what's happening, y'all, is that there is some internal injury going on. Whatever the food that you're eating is causing an internal injury. You know how you get cut, you start bleeding, it starts coagulating? That's the fibrin. And then your skin goes back to normal. Well, internally, you're being injured. You're having internal bleeding. So anytime there's a lot of internal bleeding going on, you're going to be building up a lot of fibrin. Too much fibrin is going to make the blood thick inside because it's going to coagulate. This is where the blood clot comes in, all right? Where it can cause either a heart attack or a brain aneurysm, all right? Yes, brother.
So excuse me. So the pill, the state, you're saying, you're suggesting, brother, don't even mess with the pill type of, just go with plant.
Plant-based. But see, what it is, brother, everybody is not going to jump off the meat like that because we've been used to eating that. And then you got religious orders that believe in that. They say we pray over it, allow, some say Jesus, in the name of Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got religious base folks who's going to eat the meat. All right? But if you begin to go back into the beginning, if this is what is in the text, it tells you that man and woman was in a garden eating fruit. He wasn't, the law didn't put man in the cattle field. It stopped biting on animals, like a camel. You know, you just pick a fruit off the tree and that was your nourishment. All right, that's how it was originally. And of course, when you see the scriptures tell you about how the leaves are for the healing of the nations.
Thank you.
You see what I'm saying? So it's very important that we try to move towards that, because Elijah Muhammad says something, and I hear where he's coming from when he said that we're going to eat meat, eat the best of it. But how can we say that's the best of it when they're coming up with the impossible burger? You get what I'm saying? They're coming up with the impossible burger. Out of all this ingredient, the main ingredient that makes the burger look like it's bleeding and eating like beef is the leg hemoglobin. All right, this is the GMO right here that they put in this burger, and it's not vegan. None of this stuff up here is vegan, but they'll make you think that this is a vegan burger. This is what they're doing. So even our brothers and sisters who are vegan got to be knowledgeable. All right, because they think that they're not eating meat, they're not getting damaged, but you're still getting damaged. All right, but the thing is, even if the damage occurs, regardless if you're vegan or you meat eater, you need to know what herbs to cleanse yourself. You got to know what herbs. Like I said, fenugreek is very powerful. All right, oil of oregano, very powerful, very powerful. You know, a drop or two in a glass of water, it kills a lot of parasites. Oil of oregano, if you're familiar with oil of oregano, very important to know that. You can drop oil of oregano in your tub water. You see what I'm saying? Bathe in oil of oregano, because the skin, of course, is the largest pore in your body. You see what I'm saying? And usually what I tell people, if you take a bath, hot bath, you really should make it therapeutic, because the water is contaminated. You see what's going on in Jersey, right, with the lead. They're handing out bottled water. But you can therapeutic your bath through sea salt and peroxide. Sea salt and peroxide is how you make a therapeutic bath. Normally in the morning when I take a shower, I usually take a cold shower. It's rough, but it's very healthy. Stimulating the skin, wakes you up, gets your adrenaline going, but at least it'll open up your pores when you don't absorb that hot water. You know what I'm saying? If you do bathe in hot water, be it tub or shower, you need an alkaline salt. Because the Dr. Sebi keeps talking about alkaline diet, right? But what about the alkaline salt? Because you need to alkaline your body down if you're going to deal with this poisonous water that these devils is hitting us with. So I'm just end it right there and start jumping into what I'm here for tonight. When I had to touch on some health issues, I think it was very important, because a lot of our brothers and sisters are having major issues. Major issues. So if any of the sisters got fibroid issues, fenugreek. Make it out of a dish with that. You know, you can do an enema, all right? Because it'll kill and shrink whatever the fibroid is, or the tumor. It shrinks tumors and fibroids, all right? And then you got to change your diet, at least for 90 days. Change the diet. You know, try to go on a fruit and vegetable diet and drink plenty of water. Leave the high fructose corn syrup alone. And all these soft drinks have that in there. As a matter of fact, some of the foods are starting to, disengage from that. Like, for instance, when I go to the supermarket and I buy something like Polana all fruit. Polana all fruit, on the top of it says no high fructose corn syrup. All the other jellies and jams got that in there. The Polana all fruit doesn't have it. So it's good to have knowledge on what we should buy and what we shouldn't buy. So it's very important to be aware of that. All right? So I just wanted to touch on health, because we have to be health conscious, because they're killing us out there. The big pharma is making big money off us getting sick. And they'd be glad to be putting you on Medicaid, because then they're going to use you as a cash cow. All right, tonight we're going to be talking about effective use of writs against public officials. Very important that I talk about this, because one of the issues that I've noticed from all over the country, I'm getting emails, getting texts, phone call from brothers and sisters who are litigating the system. And one of the problems that I've noticed is that when they execute their writ or their pleading, all right, their pleadings, writs, motions, complaints, we put it all on the board so you can see what's going on, right? There's an issue because no one is executing this thing correctly. Listen to me carefully, and I want to share this with you, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. I always use it as a comparison. If you play in a game of chess, do you make checker moves in the chessboard? That's the question, y'all.
No.
Exactly. And if you play in a game of chess, you got to know how the pieces move, correct? That is one of the major problems that's going on across the country. A lot of our brothers and sisters, I give them credit because it's best for them to do something than nothing. Because a lot of us is doing more nothing than something. But they're not getting any results in the system. Like for instance, say for instance you're having a problem with a judge and he's being biased and prejudiced. All right, because I got one who I'm working with now and with a divorce case. And I told him, listen, file bankruptcy, shut it down. He called him, he kept saying 3 of his buddies did that. They had a problem, it didn't work. I said, they must have had the same lawyer. Because that's what I said. They had the same lawyer, must have. Because every case is different, all right? When you're dealing with law in this system, it's all political. You have to be strategic like the game of chess, right? You can't have a checker mind trying to make a chess move. And that's what's going on. So I just want to show you something plain and simple, all right? When he filed the bankruptcy, it's a strategy. He kept saying, this judge is rogue. I said, all them judges is rogue, but you got to know the strategy. Once the bankruptcy was done, the divorce judge was shut down. He put together, I should have brought it with me. He put together a 16-page order saying that the divorce case is shut down until the discharge occurs, until the discharge is complete. All right. He couldn't believe it because he was too busy listening to other folks who were unsuccessful. I said, you know why we are unsuccessful? 2 reasons. Either it's because we're not doing this correctly or you got a lawyer on the case who's jamming you up anyway, taking your money and jamming you up. All right. Lawyers are fiduciaries of the state. They're going to comply with the state. They're not going to comply with you. Under the Corporate Jurisdiction, Volume 7, Section 4, because technically lawyers, so you will know what's going on, are not in the Constitution. Lawyers are not in the state Constitution, Commonwealth Constitution, right? And the U.S. Constitution. You would not find lawyers in the Constitution. People would say, well, what about the 6th Amendment? It says you have a right to counsel. Counsel don't mean lawyer. A counsel could be your chaplain. It could be your pastor. It could be, anybody, who would give you some counseling. So the word counsel don't mean lawyer. But what they tried to do is usurp the word counsel to associate it with lawyer. All right? You got jailhouse inmates getting other inmates out of jail. Right? Representing other inmates. All right? That's a fact. Jailhouse inmates is doing this. So if a jailhouse inmate can do this, we can do this also. So again, we're going to go over, I got some documents that I want to show people what's going on. But if you're having a problem with a judge, say for instance you got a case and you notice that he's being biased against you, you can have him removed. All right? One of the moves that I've done, just to prove a point, all right? I didn't have to go that route, but I know that they go rogue. These judges go rogue. They go rogue on you. I'm aware of that. I use the motion. Motion to do what? Motion to recuse. All right? You would have to state the statute. Because every commonwealth, every state has a recusal statute based upon the misconduct of a judge. Did you follow me what I'm saying? You have to find it from the domicile where you at. All right? You can't use another state statute in Maryland. Like for instance, you can't use New York or Pennsylvania for Maryland. You got to look for the statute to recuse the judge. That's the proper way. All right? Even though he may deny this, all right, because there's some out there that teach, oh, motions can be determined. Well, that's basically what the purpose of the motion is to be determined. But the problem is that the judge should not be the one to make that determination, all right? Because technically, what you should be attaching to your motion, which they don't talk about, you need to know that a memorandum of laws. That's referring to case laws. You got me? And you're supposed to have a, very important you take this down. So if you're looking to recuse the judge by motion, you're supposed to have an affidavit to support the motion and a memorandum of law, which means that if judges have been recused from the bench for prior decisions, you need to find out those case laws that would support your motion with your affidavit. This is the proper way to do a motion. You should never do a motion without a memorandum of law and an affidavit. Do you know the reason why? Very important. You know the reason why you should not do a motion without a memorandum of law? The memorandum of law is saying there were prior cases that judges had ruled on already, so you don't really have to really get a ruling from the judge who you bring the motion before, because it's stare decisis. Stare decisis means there was previous cases that was already adjudicated. So technically the judge is compelled by memorandum of law to be recused from the bench, because if he's shown propriety on the bench, which he's not supposed to, like for instance, last time I was here, 28 U.S.C. Excuse me. C. 455(4). Right? Let me Google that real quick so you can hear it. Ali, I hope I can get all this in tonight, man. If not, we're going to have part 2, because it's a lot of information. 28 U.S.C. section 455. I have to read it. Oh, it's called disqualification of a judge. All right? 28 U.S.C. United States Code, that's what that means, United States Code, section 455, I go to section 4. But the title is the disqualification of a judge. So when you click onto that link, right? Judge, justice, or magistrate judge. All right, so I shouldn't just say judge, but I should say properly justice, judge, or magistrate judge, because you do have that category. But we're going to go to section 4, and it says, oh, let me first read the top first, and then go to section 4. Any justice, judge, or magistrate judge of the United States shall disqualify himself in any proceeding in which his impartiality might be reasonably questioned. Section 4. Listen to me carefully. I'm going to show you something. He knows that he, individually or as a fiduciary, listen to me carefully. I said earlier, attorneys are what? Fiduciary of the state, correct? Are you with me? Yeah. Very important you be aware of this, because I'm giving you some jewel information that these folks don't expect you to notice. And you ain't going to get this no place else. You can search the whole YouTube, and you're not going to get this information that I'm dropping on you, right? So what I'm saying is, again, an attorney is a fiduciary of the state, correct? He's a fiduciary. In this statute, excuse me? Fiduciary, brother. You're correct about agent, but I don't want to focus on, see, did this say agent or did this say fiduciary? Exactly, so let's stick with fiduciary, because I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, so you can see clearly. I'm the only one that dropped this, and I drop it over and over so it can click. That judge, magistrate, or justice who's sitting on the bench is actually a lawyer. That's all you have to do is take that judge, justice, or magistrate name, go to the bar association within the state. I don't care if it's Maryland, DC, Commonwealth, and use the Bar Association website. Put the judge's name in, and you're going to see that he's going to come up as a lawyer. It's going to show you when he first registered as a lawyer, as an attorney. Right? He's paying dues. So he has a fiduciary duty to who? The bar. So if you have a lawyer, as they say, the prosecutor is a lawyer, and the judge is a lawyer, how are you going to have an impartial hearing? Do you hear what I'm saying? A lot of our brothers in the criminal system cannot have an impartial hearing, and sisters cannot have an impartial hearing when the judge is a damn lawyer, you got a lawyer, and the goddamn DA is a lawyer. So the deck is stacked against you. So they're all playing the three-card Molly on you. Because we are unaware that the damn judge who's making the decision over your life is a damn lawyer too. So, yes, brother. The mic. The mic so we can get it on.
The other thing I noticed was when I went into the tribunal,
Yes.
that they have that you're in a soundproof booth now. And if you look up what it is and what it does to the mind, it actually creates a void experience. So it's called anechoic.
All right.
An anechoic chamber. And it's to that effect in the courtroom or the tribunal.
All right.
So that's actually something that has to be studied as well, because that's a different field.
Well, this is
So-
what they're doing is coming up with different technologies to subjugate our brothers and sisters. That's basically what that is all about. I'm going to make mention of something. I'm going to see if you'll recall. I just erased it off the board. I don't know if you took notes, but it's cool if you did. When you do a motion, what is the two things that go with that motion? Affidavit, and what else? And what is the purpose of the memorandum of law? Exactly. It's cited to cases, it's ruling cases prior that judges already made a ruling. So the judge who you before, he's technically compelled to the memorandum of law. If he doesn't recuse himself from the bench and you have to show evidence to the affidavit. That's the purpose of the affidavit. The memorandum of law is to show that he's operating in the same capacity as other judges who was recused from the bench. But the purpose of the affidavit is to attach the evidence to the affidavit to show that he is being partial to you, or impartial, or should be impartiality. So now you know that. Now listen, if you don't want to go that route, but I have to still tell you that, because I think it's fair for you to know. If you don't want to go that route, they have what you call, I'll pass it around. This is what you call a federal complaint. Every federal court in every state or commonwealth or district has what you call a complaint form. You can get it online. You can just pull it, Google whatever the federal court is where you domicile at, and look for the complaint form. All right, so I'll pass it around so you'll see what it looks like. All right, this is the complaint form. All right. If you don't want to go the route with the motion in that court to have the judge recuse himself, and of course the judge is what we call going rogue, then what you can do is do what you call is a 28 USC 2201 and 2202. What is that? You're talking about a complaint for here we go. Declaratory. This is what you want. What? Judgment. And this is what you want. This is what you want. You see? You can do a complaint for a declaratory judgment and injunctive relief is what it's called. That's just the standard form for a complaint. But this is the statute that supports this, that what you're looking for. And what you would do, listen to me carefully, when you do the title action, right? Say for instance, we got John Doe that represents the brothers. And then for the sisters, you got Jane Doe. All right? If you want to take the judge off the bench without going through the motion that I just showed you, that he may deny, you can take the judge, I'm going to put it down here, judge, no. Excuse me. I have to say John Doe. Technically, it wouldn't be John Doe because, but I just used this so I won't put nobody's name here. And what you would do is put lawyer. Put lawyer. Don't put judge. Don't put judge. The reason why you wouldn't put judge, because when you do put your complaint together based upon the declaratory judgment and injunctive relief as a complaint under 28 U.S.C. 2201 and 2202, you or her, either one or together, can bring an action against that judge, but you don't bring it in their official capacity. If you bring it in their official capacity, they're going to have the district attorney, the ADA, the assistant district attorney of the U.S. government, not the state, to represent that judge. If you notice that, they're not going to have a ADA from the state to represent that state judge. They're going to get a U.S. ADA to represent that judge, and they're going to invoke 42 U.S.C. 1983. Let me read it to you so you know. All right? Huh? Oh, no. Let me read it, brother. Let me read it so you know. That's why it's very important for me to read it. 42 U.S.C. 1983. Oh, by the way, this is the code for the 14th Amendment. All right? And this is what the Moors... Let me tell you something, y'all. A lot of people out there in YouTube or any forms of social media is banging on the Moors. All right? They're banging on the Moors horribly. All right? I'll be the first one to say, I declare myself as a Moor over 20-something years ago. There's a reason why. But, again, I will be the first to tell you that my grandmother is Gullah and my grandfather is Gullah. But because they Gullah doesn't mean that I can't declare myself as a Moor. There's a reason why I declare myself as a Moor, and there's a reason why I studied Noble Jew Ali. Because Jew Ali has said something that no other man has said. I've studied Garvey, Malcolm, Elijah, you name it. Yahweh ben Yahweh, I studied all of them, and none of them has said what Noble Jew Ali said. Now, all those men are great men. I'm not pushing those brothers to the side. I studied all of those brothers because I want to see how they was dealing with this devil. Because at the end of the day, it don't make a difference what name or group you go to, the devil is still the devil. So it doesn't even matter. But I took it upon myself to say, wow, who's Noble Jew Ali? What is he about? We hear about Garvey and we hear about everybody else. But we never talk about Noble Jew Ali. Why is he seems to be a mystery and nobody talked about him? Well, I went to the Schomburg Library in Harlem, New York, went up to the archive department, second floor. They opened up at 10, they closed at 6. That's me, 10 to 6. Beats, don't be playing. I'll be going in, taking notes, because I got to know what's going on. So that was my day's school. You know how you go to school for 8 semesters or 8 classes? Well, that's what I was doing that day. When I went to pull the Moore Science Temple collection and I started doing research on Noble Jew Ali, he threw me to the floor. He said, that if the Declaration of Independence is saying that all man is equal, then there was no need for the 14th and 15th Amendment. I was thrown to the floor. So what I love about the prophet is that he'll say, we give the European back his Christianity. That's exactly what that is. That's his Christian codes of white supremacy. So he said that if the Declaration of Independence is saying that all men is equal, we don't need no 14th, 15th Amendment. That's what they did. So again, that's the matter of fact, the 14th Amendment is the Ku Klux Klan oath. That's the Ku Klux Klan oath. So what they doing to our people, like for instance, if you hit you with a traffic violation or any kind of violation, if you go into their statute, the main thing that they use in the statute is this big word right here that they're using against us. This is the most dangerous word. They're using this in their legal system. This is a code word. A lot of our people don't know that this is a code word. All right? Because Drew Ali spoke against this. He said that our people are not Negro, black, or colored. Now, you ready for the headbanger? To prove what Drew Ali was saying? 2 Harvard professors wrote a book called Alienable Rights. I can't recall. You can Google it. 2 Harvard professors wrote a book called Alienable Rights. The 3rd chapter of that book is called The Dark Side of the Constitution. Who was in that Constitutional Convention? James Madison. He was one of the 55 delegates. Do you hear me when I'm telling you? He was taking notes during the convention. He didn't want nobody to know at that time what his notes were pertaining to until everybody in that convention wound up to die. Well, by the grace of Allah, as they say, or Yahweh, he was the last one. Ironic. They let it out. What the argument was, the word slave was repugnant to the Constitution. That was the argument in the Constitutional Convention, that the word slave was repugnant. So what happened? They replaced the word slave with the word person. This is in the Dark Side of the Constitution, the 3rd chapter of that book, called Alienable Rights by 2 Harvard professors. So Drew Ali was on point. Yes, brother. You need the mic, because they want to put that on
Barry Sanders and Francis Adams.
Yeah, say that again, brother.
Barry Sanders and Francis Adams.
All right, Alienable Rights is the name of the book. The 3rd chapter. Very important. Took the word person and exchanged the word slave and removed the word slave, or substituted the word slave for person. And you know what's interesting? Because when you go to the 1st article of the United States Constitution, that says any not taxed and 3/5 of other person. If you notice, they said that. You notice they said that. But then they took that out of the 1st article, modified it like GMO, and brought it up to the 14th Amendment. So now you want to pay the tax. None of our Nubian brothers and sisters should be paying no goddamn tax, because that's something that our brothers and sisters who are pushing this reparation issue, they should be talking about that. That we should be having up under what you call Homestead. Because a lot of our people is not aware of the Homestead Act. I did the research, you told me, because you were stating something, and I'm thinking you have a question and all that. All right. It's almost like you feel like you're heckling me. I'm gonna say, if you got a question, I'd rather give the mic and ask the question, brother. You know, because I'm flowing with some information that y'all need to be aware of. Let me just hold your question. Give me a second. The Homestead Act. I did research on the Homestead Act. You know who's benefiting off the Homestead Act? Shook around the key. Shook around. Who is benefiting off the Homestead Act? The national parks, the museums. That Homestead Act was supposed to be us. I did the study. That was during the Civil War between 1862 to 1864. Studied the Homestead Act. The Homestead Act specifically said, under the Lincoln administration, that if you was 21 years of age and you had to register and stay on your property for 5 years, they couldn't do no mortgage on it, liens, levies, garnishment, foreclosure. They couldn't do nothing to your property. Because that was your reward after coming out of that condition of slavery and the civil war that our brothers have fought on both sides, the Confederate and the Union. That was what keeps us in our property. But what the devil did is modify the Homestead Act in New York. I don't know what they say in Maryland. I have to study each state and see what they did. They modified it and changed the Homestead Act to what they call the STAR program. So now you can't be 21 years of age. They put 40 years on it. Now you got to be 62 years of age to qualify for the Homestead Act under the STAR program. This is what them devils did. They put 40 years on it. Yeah, do the research. So we should be having the Declaration of Homestead Trust and transferring our properties into that. Because that's exactly what we're supposed to have. Matter of fact, I do bankruptcy cases. I study bankruptcy cases. And even in there, when you, matter of fact, Schedule C, because they got the schedules when you do bankruptcy. Schedule C specifically asks you, are you claiming homestead exemption? And the answer would be yes. But a lot of our brothers and sisters is not aware of the homestead exemption. But the point is they politicize it so they can taxly control it. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Yes, brother, you had a question, pardon me.
Yeah, I thought I heard them say that they canceled the Homestead Act.
No, brother, they modified it. They didn't cancel it. Listen to this. I just dropped a jewel on you. Under Schedule C of the bankruptcy, they asked the question, are you claiming homestead exemption? So how could they cancel something if they're asking you the question? If they canceled it, it wouldn't have been on there to ask you. You see what I'm saying? So that's why studies are so important, brother, because so much stuff is being said, so many of our people are being misled, and I have a problem with that. We already being misled. We don't need to be no more misled than what we are. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you see me here put it down here raw. But back to this judge. You don't put him down here as a judge. You put him down here as a lawyer. That's how you put him down here. Because he's practicing law from the bench. All right? That's what he's doing. So what happens is, let me go back to what I was saying on Title 42, 1983, why you don't deal with him as a judge. This is what they do. This is what they do. So let me tap onto this. Let me show you what's going on. This is what they say. This is what they say. All right, I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. All right, yes, I am. This is what they say. Title 42, 1983 is a civil action for deprivations of rights. Now, it's interesting because when you bring your declaratory judgment and injunctive relief complaint, you bring it in under what code? Come on, y'all. What code we bringing it under? It's on the board. 28 USC, Section 2201 and 2202. That deals with declaratory judgment and injunctive relief. All right? Now, it's interesting. Pardon me? Yes. Yes. Well, you bring in the quote-unquote judge as a defendant into the court, but you're not going to put him down as a judge. You're going to put him down as a lawyer. What you do is go to the Bar Association, get this information. You want to be able to incorporate that information from the Bar Association into your complaint. That's what you want to do. That's how you hit him. Yes?
Now, when we get this from the Bar Association, are we getting certified or?
No, you don't have to worry about, it's not so much getting it certified, but that's true. I do agree with what you're saying, but you don't necessarily have to do that. What you're looking for is the language. Because remember, you're putting the judge down as a lawyer, so you want to abstract that information. Matter of fact, one state, I can't recall, they shutting that down. So I'll be quick to tell you, hurry. You know what I'm saying? If you got a judge, get it in. So they trying to shut it down so you won't see that these judges are really lawyers. Because anytime I expose information, they always want to shut it down. All right? So this is what I want to show you. We're going to bring, because judges are up under 28. Remember I showed you this? To disqualify a judge. You're not going to bring a judge under Title 42, 1983. You never bring a judge up under this. That's what the mistake that people make. Judges are not up under this. Oh, they're protected by this, but they're not up under this. If you want to disqualify a judge, you don't take a 1983 suit against the judge to disqualify him. That's the disqualification section that I'm showing you, so you'll see what's going on. But let me read something to you that you'll need to hear under this, because they're protecting the judge. Listen what they say. Again, every person, here we go with that person again, who under the color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or uses of any state or territory. Now, the reason why I'm reading it like that is because that's exactly what happens in a criminal proceeding. What they do is they take a criminal statute and they say you violated the statute. But if you go into the statute, you will see that the word person is in that statute. You are not that person. Because technically what they're still saying is that you're a slave. Remember, they codified the word slave to word person. You see what I'm saying? So you are not that person. All right? You're not that person. All right? They're stealing your nationality away and your birthright when they call you a person. That's the reason why when I was teaching etymology, I would put the word now. Right? Because N-O means not and UN means not. All right? And they have a tendency to talk about us with a double negative, but a now is a double negative. All right? So when you put person, place, or thing, what are you saying about the person, place, or thing? You're classifying the person in the same category as places and things, property. Going back to slave. So they codified it under Title 42, 1983. These devils is wicked under the Ku, that's the Ku Klux Klan.
Jim Crow stuff.
That's right, Jim Crow. So now, and they're doing this under color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, customs, and usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia, subjects or causes to be subject any citizen of the United States or other person, you see that, within the jurisdiction thereof, to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws, shall be liable to the party injured in the action at law. And the only reason why they're saying that is because they're still saying that we're their property. And as their property, they say that we can have an injury claim as their property. When you go back to the black codes back in the days, a Moor cannot be a slave, cannot be a plaintiff or a defendant. This is in the black codes of 1724. If you go pull that up and look at them different articles, you see that you could have been a plaintiff or a defendant. Now they're allowing you to be either one because it's an injury claim to property, which means if you damage my property, I have a right to get paid. This is what they're saying. So check this out. Liable to the party injured in an action at law, suit in equity. All other proper proceedings for redress, except that in any action brought against a judicial officer, you hear that? You hear that? Brought against a judicial officer for an act or omission taking in such officer's judicial capacity. You see what they're saying? Injunctive relief should not be granted unless the declaratory decree. Boom! I'm showing it to you, y'all. I don't know if you're hearing what I'm saying. They're giving you the language in Title 42, 1983 when it comes to a judicial officer. So now you see why Kimitu is telling you that if you bring a complaint, it got to be a declaratory judgment and injunctive relief, because they're telling you right here. They're telling you here. You don't take the judge under Title 42. You take him under 28, disqualification. And if he's practicing law from the bench, it's Section 454. 454. There's one 455 and one is 454. 454 means that if a judge is practicing law from the bench, that is considered to be a high misdemeanor. That's a high misdemeanor. So again, you heard it right here. I read it again. It says, except that in any action brought against a judicial officer for an act or omission taken in each officer's judicial capacity, injunctive relief shall not be granted unless a declaratory decree was violated or declaratory relief was unavailable for the purpose of this section. So you know you have to bring this. This is proper. To bring a complaint against the judge, what I'm showing you here tonight, this is proper. Now, I passed the form around. You seen it, brother? All right, we all seen it, right? All right. So this is just the format. All right. I can't go over the format like I want because time is of the essence. In order for me to really teach this on how this is done, I would actually have to have a seminar to do that. This is just an overview. I'm showing you the form. I'm showing you the statute. I'm showing you the statute that they would try to use to protect the judge. All right? Because you're looking for a declaratory judgment in order to get an injunctive relief. A declaratory judgment is the same thing as a declaratory decree. All right? And this is what I'm showing you. This is where you see how I draw my analysis and compare the two so you can have an idea. Yes?
So, going back to
Yes, we did like that.
going back to what we were talking about earlier before we started.
Yes.
The judge stepped out of the court and she came back
Yes.
and you stated you also want the names of such and such.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes. It's very important to get the name of them judges, you know. Matter of fact, when you go to these courthouses, we should get in the habit of getting a list of these judges. All right? That's what we should be doing. So this is the method that I use to get the judge off the bench. He's not off the bench permanently, but at least you remove him off your case. That's the point. You know, we have to go further to get him permanently off the bench. All right? Because what they did to Tracy Hunter was foul play. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Boyd. I think the sister that he was interviewing, I think her name is Enos, Dr. Enos. She did a case study on Tracy Hunter. And she showed the bias and prejudice that's going on in the system against Judge Hunter because she's a judge in the juvenile court. And our young brothers, she was doing the right thing by giving the right decision concerning the conditions that they were under when they would be in charge as juveniles, right? Because of the fact that this is a money market game with these quote-unquote folks who's controlling that element, she was messing with their money. Each one of these young brothers was worth $200-something thousand a year that they was getting. And so Dr. Enos did a case study. And another thing too, she was not a lawyer. She was actually elected by the people. And usually when you elect by the people, the Bar Association doesn't like that. So that's another reason why they attacked her, because she was elected by the people and she was not playing ball with the boys club, which is the Bar Association. So if you really want to see the detail, don't look at the actual proceeding that happened in court. And the judge who was on the sit-in, he killed somebody by manslaughter with his vehicle. It was vehicle manslaughter. And he wasn't even removed from the bench. But I see what was going on because there was previous judges who already ruled in appellate court, U.S. District Court, state court, and all of them ruled against her. They all came up against her. And so he was just the Grim Reaper. That's all he was just the Grim Reaper. If you pay close attention to what he was saying, you would see that. All right? But if you really want to get the detail, that's not the link to see. You have to see the one with Dr. Boyd interviewing Dr. Enos, who did a case study on Judge Tracy Hunter. That's the link that you need to see, because she goes into detail about how they're being prejudiced against us, the decision making. Matter of fact, she reminded me of Cut 'em Loose Bruce, who was the judge up in New York. He was on the criminal case, and because he was cutting them loose, that's why they call him Cut 'em Loose Bruce, they removed the brother and put him in family court. You see what I'm saying? Because again, that money is coming in. All right? When they give you an 18B lawyer, that's what they call it up in New York, or some legal aid, all right? They're running you through the system, signing a law with the DA for you to cop a plea, because they want that money to come in. All right? So are we clear about this complaint? Because I passed it around so you can see it. Because again, time is of the essence. I can't really go into this detail like I want to. Yes, brother.
What you explained to us related to the complaint,
Yes.
is that equivalent to, I've heard people talk about a writ of mandamus. Is that equivalent or?
Oh, a writ of, all right, you got writ of mandamus and a writ of prohibition. A writ of mandamus is sort of like a memorandum of law, all right? But what it does, it gets more of a force than the memorandum of law. The writ of mandamus is to prohibit that official to either do something or don't do something. It depends on the circumstances. So that's what the writ of mandamus is. You see what I'm saying? So it's more of an enforcement.
All right.
Yes.
Can I follow up this?
Yes.
Make sure I comprehend what you said.
Yes.
With respect to the memorandum of law.
Yes.
Say the scenario where someone has a traffic ticket.
Yes.
And you're coming into whatever jurisdiction they're handling that accusation or charge.
Yes.
Is the writ of is the memorandum of law a part of your answer?
If you're going to do what you call is a dismissal on that traffic ticket, a memorandum of law will be appropriate with an affidavit.
All right.
All right. So,
I hear what you're saying.
yes, so that's what that would be. I want to share this with y'all. You'll need to hear this. Hold your question for 1 second. The courts of administration, when it comes to traffic court, is perpetrating a big fraud. Tell you what I'm talking about. I have said this before, and I say it again. When the officer stops you, let me give you some jewels to help you so you'll see where I'm coming from. When an officer stops you and gives you a traffic ticket, you have to say, sir, I have to put you on notice. He says, why? When you see my license plate, they just said commercial. Do you hear me what I'm saying, y'all? When you see my license plate, then it says commercial. So if my license plate didn't say commercial, how are you giving me a traffic ticket when the word traffic means commercial? That's very important that people need to know that. I give you some simple stuff to get cases dismissed. Here's the other headbanger jewel I'm going to give you. When the officer stops you and wants to give you a ticket, you would say, sir, from the municipality that you work for, do you work for DMV? How is an officer giving you a ticket when he is not employed by DMV, he's only employed by the municipality? So a lot of people be missing the simple stuff. So now the question to y'all, who issued you the license? The municipality where the officer stopped you or DMV? Do you hear me what I'm saying? I can give you some simple stuff like, oh, I could have had a PA type of information. It's simple. It's very simple. It's nothing complex. It's only complex because we don't know how simple it is. So I'm giving you jewel pieces because when someone dropped something on me, I said, okay, that's why I like people to interact with me with questions, because then what you're doing is you invoking my thought to drop a jewel piece on you that you need to know. Here's another jewel piece. You ready for the third jewel piece? The Paper Reduction Act. You don't even have to have your license on you under the Paper Reduction Act. If you pull up the Paper Reduction Act, you don't have to have a license to show him. Now, why I mentioned the Paper Reduction Act? One is because they wanted to eliminate paper and make everything electronic. That's one. But the main thing of the Paper Reduction Act, and you have to pull it up, you have to Google it, Wikipedia it, and read it, and it's going to blow your mind. The purpose of that also is not just to reduce paper, but it's for financial data collection. Again, financial what? Data collection. So when the officer is taking your information, he's taking financial information from you. So the question is, do the ticket that he's issuing you, does it have what you call is an O&B number. Office and Management Budget, that falls under the president. Every instrument from an agency is supposed to have an O&B number. The IRS forms have it, not all of them, but they do have it, right? But the traffic ticket doesn't have it. So you say to the judge, Your Honor, I'd be glad to pay this ticket. First of all, you have to fill out a W-9 form. I'm the only one who dropped it. Been dropping it for years. W-9 form, because he wants to establish a payee-payer relationship. That's the reason why you do a W-9 form. So I can report that to the IRS that you're collecting taxes, all right? And people's too busy running away from taxes, you can use the tax as a weapon. Any traffic tickets and stuff that you're getting, you can do a tax return and get that money back. You can get it back because those are considered to be legal fees. They are legal fees. So again, the traffic ticket doesn't have an O&B number on it. All right? And so you got to get the information, and you can use that in your affirmation and dismissing the traffic ticket. This is what I'm used to doing. I don't do it no more because I'm dealing with some other heavy stuff. Not to say I can't do it. But it's just so simple, it's, you know, it's not hard at all. You just need the information, get the ticket, put down O&B number, notice of dismissal, affidavit, notice of dismissal, O&B number, look at the language for the O&B, show that it doesn't show, and it goes deeper than that. You can go and draw other resources of information, and you can put that in your affidavit, right? Because they're making a claim against you. So you have to refute that claim through the fact of an O&B. It doesn't have it. They're supposed to have it. And then what you need to do is get the EIN number of the agency or the court who wants this money. Because then you can file, depending of its profit, is a 3949A, that's an Internal Revenue form, the complaint form against an agency that's unauthorizedly collecting taxes because there's no O&B number on it to collect. So you would turn around and open up an audit on that agency. That's one. Or if it's a non-for-profit, it would be a 13909. If it's a non-for-profit, because most of those municipalities are non-for-profit. How you know that they're non-for-profit? Because all those government vehicles are all self-insured. And that's what I also teach. That none of you in here who's driving should not be having no damn state insurance on your car. You should be self-insured. They're making money off our ignorance. They're making money off our ignorance. I'm the only one that's dropping the jewel that when you get the CUSIP number on the damn license, you can get the damn bond. That's your insurance to travel. I went and took this course up. You'll hear Gene Keaton talk about this. You hear a lot of people talk about this and put this down on a UCC1 financial statement. But none of them been in the building like I did. None of them have been in the building down at 55 Water Street on the 43rd floor. I took up the course with these people, Global CUSIP Services. And let me tell you what I tried to do. Because when I was up there, ain't nobody looked like me was in there. Caucasians, Asians, East Indians, everybody, them but us. So you know me. I'll go up in these places, sit down with the American Bar Association. It costs me a couple of $100 to be up in there, get the information, and bring it back. And I don't even ask nobody for a dime. And you don't even know this is what I'm doing. Because there's so much information that's being put out there that is misleading our people, and I'm having a problem with that. So I'm going to come back and bring it proper. So the ones who is misleading people, please learn it proper. Learn it proper so we won't get damaged. All right? If you need to move that magistrate, judge, or justice off the bench, put him as a defendant and write him up as a lawyer in your complaint and describe exactly what he's doing. That's what you do, get him off the bench. All right? Because once you, as a matter of fact, who you serve in reference to that lawyer, that judge, a lawyer acting as a judge? Because you can't have two hats. You can't be a lawyer and a judge. If you're a lawyer sworn in as a judge and didn't retire your bar card, he's practicing law from the bench. 28 U.S.C. section 454. High misdemeanor. You got the mic, brother? Because you got to get the mic. Hold on. He has a question first. Let me have the question first.
Can you explain
Yes.
how do you get self-insured?
Yeah, speaking to the mic.
How do you get self-insured?
All right. This is what we should be doing. The license that is issued to you at DMV, that is a financial instrument. We was never told that's what that was. You have to get what you call is the CUSIP number. The CUSIP number on it. The top word, CUSIP, Committee on Uniform Security, that's the bond, identify procedure. So when you get the CUSIP number on any instrument, is what I taught the last time I was here. Any instrument, it don't make a difference, birth certificate, death certificate, marriage license, whatever the instrument it is. Mortgages, student loans, credit cards, car loans, driver license, right? Security license, gun license, you know what I'm saying? Fishing, whatever it is. It's all registered with the state. And they're making money on this instrument. Why? Because you got to pay them to register to keep current, right? But when you get the CUSIP number on it, let me share something with you, brother. I'm going to shock you. So somebody may need the defibrillator to bring that brother back. Because Kimitu is not playing with this. You see what it says right here. Do you read that? No. Right here. You see what the red? That's the PDF. Right next to those words. What it says. You got to speak in the mic so they can hear you.
It says, honorary CUSIP.
All right, CUSIP. Now check this out. Check this out. In yellow is the what?
In yellow is the numbers.
Those are the CUSIP numbers.
Okay.
Look. CUSIP number. And what is the CUSIP numbers to? Just above it? You got to say it loud, brother. No, spell it. Say it. Say the word. No, brother. Right here in quotes. Right here.
Passport.
Thank you. Let me roll it up. Yeah, what it said? The CUSIP numbers to what?
Passport.
Thank you. You hear that? The CUSIP numbers to who? The passport. Who ever thought about that? Because the immigration is a fraud. They're using immigration against our people. Matter of fact, all of us here who was quote unquote born here is still under immigration law. Don't even know that. All right, so anytime we hear immigration, we thinking foreigners. They got us under immigration law under the 14th Amendment under Title 42, 1983. They got us up under immigration. Because when Hurricane Katrina hit down in New Orleans, what they was classifying our people as? Do you hear me what I'm saying? So you got to comprehend what's going on with these devils.
Okay, so
Yes.
My CUSIP number is hooked to my passport.
Is something wrong with the mic? 'Cause I'm not hearing. There you go.
My CUSIP number is hooked to my passport, my driver's license, marriage.
No. Let me make it clear. You see a number there. You ask. I'm gonna show you what you asked me. That's the passport.
Okay.
That's the number to the passport, and it says U.S. on the back of it.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you look at the CUSIP numbers and look at the passport number, it's two different numbers.
Right.
All right? So you got to get so the numbers on your license, your student loan, your mortgage loan, that's not the CUSIP number. That's just the registered number for the investment. You got to get the CUSIP number. Now, there's two types of CUSIP numbers that you need to be aware of. Because you may hear people out there talking about it, but they're not breaking it down in detail like I am because they didn't go take the class. But yet you're misleading people with information that you have no idea about. But you can't say that about Kimitu because I got the proof. And I got the ID. Because you can't get in there without the ID. You got the major CUSIP number, that goes to the pool, P-O-O-L, pool. That's the larger pool. Because if you see exactly what it's telling you here, that's the inception date, 9/26/1997, and the net asset, that's $1 billion, brother. You follow me? So when people say, oh my God, my birth certificate is $1 billion. No, it's not. That's the pool. That's a conglomerate of everybody's stuff up in there. In order to find out what specifically goes to your account, you have to get the minor CUSIP number. The minor goes to your account directly. The major goes to the pool that's connected to the minor to your account. You see how that works? So you ain't getting this from nobody else. So I got major love and desire for my people. I don't give a damn what faith you from, whatever it is. I'm bringing the information to our people because, listen, at the end of the day, these people don't care who you say you are, what label, what not. These people are practicing modern day slavery and indentured servitude. And you know why? Because the 13th Amendment sanctioned it. They sit up there and tell you, oh, the 13th Amendment means there is a prohibition against involuntary servitude and slavery. But guess what they don't tell you? There's a crime exception clause. There's a what? Crime exception clause. So the crime exception clause says if you commit a crime, you're a slave. If you commit a crime, you're an indentured servant. So you know how you become an indentured servant? Because these devils in 1933 declared what? Come on. 33, they declared bankruptcy on purpose. So you know what you got to read to know what's going on? Debtor-Creditor Law. You should get that book in a nutshell. Right? By Westlaw. It's a little small book. You can go to Barnes & Nobles or you can go online and get it. It's called Debtor-Creditor Law in a nutshell. They got all kind of case law and litigation so you can see what's going on because then you can shut them creditors down. Yes, brother, your question.
I'd like to add to the crime or the criminal bit.
Yes.
Saying that it's a crime. We had learned from the Dungy case, they said it's a crime to be a Negro. So
That's right.
everybody.
You know what case law that is, right?
The William Dungy case.
Yes, say it out loud so everybody can hear you.
So in the William Dungy case, it was proclaimed that it's a crime to be a Negro.
But see, what you need to say that.
The Negro in Spanish.
Yes,
is white.
but see, the premise is that the brother had a business, and the brother-in-law was accusing him of being a Negro, and he was slandering him in the public that was causing damage to his business, and so he decided to bring a suit against the brother-in-law. So, of course, they had lawyers on both sides, so you know what's going on. Because it's always good to give people the premise of what's going on so you know exactly what you're talking about, right? Because you know it, really, they don't know it. So then what happened is as the case was in court, right, the lawyer for the brother who was being slandered, he said that my client is not a Negro, he's a Moor. That's in the case law. He's a Moor. So the other lawyer for the other side, the opposition, tried to play the game by saying when he said Moor, are you talking about M-O-R-E? He was being indignant with a sarcasm. But the attorney representing his client was talking about M-O-O-R. Even though in England, Moor was spelled with an E. All right? A lot of their words back in their time, E was on the back of their words. All right? And yes. No, not all English. Not all English. All English didn't have that. Yes.
The question I had was,
yes.
if you look up the name of the Magi, and they say that they're
on the Bar Association?
The Bar Association?
Yes.
What if their membership status says judicial? Is that still?
No, that would be new to me. I've looked through various states and Commonwealth, and I've never seen that. Have you?
Yes.
Oh, talk, let people know what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I was asking you.
Yeah, but see, All right, I've never seen it, that's what I'm saying. So, but I like to examine that. So, when it says judicial, right?
I'll look for it now.
All right, good. But if you said, this would be a good example. It says judicial on it, is what you said. But it said anything about him being admitted to the bar or lawyer?
No, I don't think so.
See, that's different. That's different. And this is from the Bar Association? Because that doesn't make sense to me.
I'll look for it again.
Yeah, please, because I couldn't conceive from all my research that the Bar Association would have something judicial on their site, because that's not in their jurisdiction. That's why I couldn't conceive that. That's why I said I would have to really look at that and see what you're saying. All right? And I'm not saying that, don't get me wrong. I don't push nothing to the side and dismiss it. I just like to see what they're doing, because if they're modifying it, something is going on. All right? But 9 times out of 10, when you take that judge's name and go to the Bar Association of the Commonwealth or the State of wherever, or the District of Columbia, you're going to see that it says he's a lawyer. With the time of his admission, what college he went to, and his registration fee. You know, was it paid already? Is it due? When is the next time you have to pay it? And that's the fiduciary that I'm talking about. All right, under section 455, section 4. He's operating in the fiduciary capacity because he's paying dues as an attorney. He's not paying dues as a lawyer. It doesn't say that there. I mean, as a judge. He's paying dues as a lawyer. You see what I'm saying? Because he has to pay his next registration fee. If he doesn't pay his fee, they're going to suspend his license. That's a fact, because I know a couple of lawyers that happened to, which is, of course, our people. Yes, brother. Can you give brother the mic?
Excuse me, I wanted to ask about, I've seen people go.
Yes, the mic, yeah, because something wrong with that mic, because you don't hear the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. So when I hear you, I hear it right here.
I wanted to ask about, I've seen people in court get locked up for driving on suspended license.
Yes, good point. I'm glad you said that. Listen to this carefully. Thank you. That's why I love questions, because I'm going to hit you in the head with something. I just said it earlier, I let the cat out the bag. How in the hell can your license be suspended when I just told you that your license is a bar? Because guess what? When your license, listen to this carefully, and everybody know what I'm saying, this is the procedure. Stop you, license suspended, arrest you, take you to jail, and what's going to happen if you have to get out? You have to do what? Post bail, which is the bond. You see what I'm saying? They're playing games. So the license is a bond. What are you being arrested for? Because the purpose of the bond is to indemnify the state, saying that you're not going to be a liability to the state. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why you would pull the bond from the license. But how you would do that is through the CUSIP number, and then you have to go to Fidelity. You have to talk to a broker. It's like I said last time before. You have to talk to a broker, all right? And the broker will pull it for you. But you got to open up a brokerage account with Fidelity, all right? And they would pull the bond, but you have to pay for the bond. Bond could be cheap, you know, because I came across somebody's mortgage bond. And when I came across him, he was shook. He said, what? You ain't going to hear this from nobody else. Who ever heard of finding somebody's mortgage bond? And when I showed it to him, he couldn't believe it. And then and the price of the bond, he couldn't believe it. He got so excited, he said, oh man, I'm going to buy a lot of bonds. I said, you don't need to buy a bunch of bonds. You just need to buy one. Because once you have that one bond, now you say you're the bondholder. So how are they going to foreclose on you if you're the bondholder? Because the foreclosure is foreclosing on your behalf of the bondholder because of the equity that they're trying to take from you. That's what that's about. But if you're the bondholder, how are they going to take something from you? You see what I'm saying? And you're the note holder anyway. That's why I keep telling people when you sign your note, in your mortgage, you better sign it in the blue pen. You have to sign it in the blue pen so that you're the original note holder. Yes, brother.
All right. So is the I just got one question. Is
Yes.
The DMV, the Motor Vehicle Administration.
Yes.
Are they acting as a securities intermediary?
That's correct. That's correct. Because first of all, let me drop another jewel on you. Thank you, brother. y'all need to get what you call is vehicle traffic law. If you notice, they give you the manual to take the written test, and then you go take the road test, right? The purpose of the manual is so you know what the street signs is on the road on what you can and can't do. So you have to recognize that that's the written test. So then they give you the road test just to see that you're obeying the rules and regulations of the road. But the interesting thing about it, they never give nobody the vehicle traffic law. I got a copy of it. I need to start bringing it with me. Thick book from New York. $2, vehicle traffic law. They don't even give that to the people. And it's stacked up in motor vehicle. And the people don't even know that. So here you are, you got information, I'm coming, brother. You got information in the vehicle traffic law where you can dismiss your tickets. Information. Like for instance, what they're doing now all over the country is they're doing snapshots from the light, sending you the ticket in the mail. But in the DMV manual that I have in New York, you cannot serve a summons in the mail. But if you didn't, then that's the vehicle traffic law. So once I brought that out, the law, they had to dismiss the case. See how simple that was? Yes, brother.
So if we can get can we get the CUSIP number?
Yes.
From the DMV?
No,
Or does
the
that have to come from the broker?
DMV, they're not gonna, see, these folks are only trained to do what they do within that department. All right, so certain knowledge, information they're not gonna have. All right, they don't know nothing about no CUSIP number up in there. All right, none of those places don't know about the CUSIP numbers. Matter of fact, there was a more that I know who I dropped some knowledge on. He did something that he should have done. He ran up to TD Bank and he was talking about he wanted to open up a CUSIP account. None of those managers didn't even know what he was talking about. So one of the managers went to go talk to one of the vice presidents of the branch. And the vice president jumped up hysterically and ran outside to find out who it was. And when he brought the more inside his office, he said, listen, when you come in here and reference to this account, don't talk to no manager. Just come straight back here. This time I need to see, you know. And so what happened was he scared the hell out of the more. And the more didn't discuss this with me like he should have. So the vice president of the bank asked the more, do you have a securities attorney? So the more didn't have to answer that, so he got up and left. All right? Because you can get your CUSIP numbers, and you can get what you call as a Treasury Direct account. You can get a Treasury Direct account and get the CUSIP numbers, but you need a securities attorney to set that up for you. And you can deal with the residual from that account, but you cannot touch the principal. But if you touch the principal, the men in black is gonna come and see you. Yes. Yes.
What if you are the entitlement holder to that security?
But that's the reason why you can get the residual.
Okay.
Because you're the entitlement holder.
Okay.
I forgot what section in law.
UCC.
No. It's under the Code of Federal Regulation. I hear what you're saying. I know that's UCC, but I'm saying there's a Code of Federal Regulation that actually goes into details about that. Matter of fact, I had showed some of that in one of the videos that I did down in Delaware when I did a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know which one of those videos it is. I gotta go back, sit down and review it so I can be accurate on which one it is. But it's probably the one that I did where I did what you call as a notice of prospective payout. All right, it's probably that one that I did. Because with that one, this is the same one when I found the mortgage bond for this brother. What I did was, all the trust information that I had, I attached that to that notice of prospective payout, all right, and sent it to the vice president of Wells Fargo here in Maryland. And they panicked and sent him something back, express mail. And they wanted information so they can pay him his money. Because one of the arguments that I had in the notice that I put together was that if they don't liquidate his prospective payout, that we're gonna file complaints with FINRA, which is the enforcement of the Securities Exchange Commission. You see what I'm saying? And so, again, like I said, there's nobody out there just dropping these jewels and this information. I really don't go too much into detail because too many people out there is taking my intellectual property for my research and studies, and they're trying to execute things and they're causing problems, and that's not good because what you're gonna do is cause these people to shut down and don't respond to us. You know what I'm saying? So There's a way you do things. Again, you don't move checkers in a chess game, as I said before. Any questions?
I got a
Yes.
question related to the vehicle traffic law.
And I got a jewel drop on you, but I'm listening.
It's all done.
It's fine.
Is that state specific? The vehicle
Yeah,
traffic law.
that's
what they're
state
doing in
specific.
New York might not be
Yeah,
the same as
no,
what
no.
they're-
Each state has a vehicle traffic law. I mean, it's basically the same. There's some similarities, I should say, basically, but it does vary because, and you know, that's interesting. Mom. I'm trying to remember if it was you one night we was chitter-chatting or someone else, and the laws varies. Probably was you, Mom, from state to state. And when I researched that and realized that, then I started realizing why they came up with the Uniform Commercial Code. All those gurus out there who wants to talk about the Uniform Commercial Code, if I was to ask a question, couldn't even answer. What was the purpose of the Uniform Commercial Code? Based upon what you just said. Every state, right, varies in their law. So when you read it, it specifically says that the state law would take precedent if there's a contravention of the codes, which means if the code is contrary to the state law takes precedent. But what the Bar Association in 1954 was doing was coming together to put the Uniform Commercial Code so they can have all the laws uniform to all the states. That was the purpose of the Uniform Commercial Code. No guru out there is dropping what I just told you. None. Pay attention. Watch the YouTube. Check out the social media. Listen to them gurus. And you say, damn, the brother's on point. He's on his square. Because they ain't dropping that. They're talking about it, but they don't give you the basis of the reason why. All right? So that's excellent. Let me drop another tool on you. All right? You're gonna be staggered. All right? I hope you ain't gonna be drunk tonight. Be sober. Check this out. I've been teaching this for years, and nothing changed. Check this out. John Doe, Jane Doe, right? The DA or the prosecutor takes your name and put it into what they call as a title action. Did you know? I gotta go look for it too. It falls on the 28th too. I don't be playing with this. I'm like a rock bottle on LSD when it comes to this. Especially when these damn devils is doing us dirty. When they're doing us dirty, we have to have some kind of recourse, right? So check this out. When the ADA take your name and put it into a title action, did you know that they have to have consent to bring criminal actions against you? Did you know that, y'all? That if they bring criminal actions against you, they have to get your consent. Guess what they do to get your consent? It's called a sleight of hand. Normally that term is used in magic. It's called a sleight of hand. How they get you through consent is through a plea. They say to you, sir, ma'am, what is your plea? That's the consent. They can't move this title action or title bout against you without your consent. They need your consent in order to prosecute you. That's why they say, what is your plea? So what they did is they incorporate your consent in the form of a plea. You see how them devils have you to waive your rights? So that's why years ago, we used to tell them non-assumption. Non-assumption. What non-assumption mean? It means I have now averred or agreed to enter into your contract. Right? Because we're talking about consent again. So non-assumption is a plea. You can look that up. But if they come back and tell you, sir or ma'am, that's in a civil action, you know what you tell them? This is how you hit them in the head. You ready for the drill? It's called 27 CFR, which is Code of Federal Regulation 72.11. Again, 27 CFR 72.11. It says that all crimes are commercial. So if you're going to try to throw that civil crap in my face, the federal law says all crimes is commercial. So it's civil. It's civil. So again, my non-assumption plea stands on the square. You're with me? You see how simple it is? Very, very simple. Very simple, but let me come back with the other jewel piece so you'll see what's going on. They would take your name and put it into this title action to bring a suit against you. I don't care if it's criminal or civil. I don't care if it's criminal or civil. Like child support, I can show you how to shut that down. Any credit action against you, I can show you how to shut that down. Because for them to bring a civil suit or a criminal suit against you, again, what I said, they got to get your consent. I came across that information 20 years ago. It faded away. I got to go back and look for it to tell you. It's under 28 that I know, but I got to find the section where it's at. They got to get your consent to bring a civil action or a criminal action against you. But this is how you hit them. When they don't get your consent. Because remember, in non-assumption, if you listen to the language of non-assumption, I have no aver or agree to enter into a contract. I'm not going to contract with you. To contract with them is saying they want to do business with you. That's what they're saying. This is what you say to them. Every commonwealth and every state statute has this, right? General business law, 349. This is for New York now. But you got to look for the one that's within the state. Sometimes you can't find the statute, you can use the phrase for that state law and you will see the statute. That's what I do. If I can't find it one way, I'll flip it another way and get it. It's called unfair, deceptive business practice. Unfair, deceptive business practice. That's all you have to do is take that phrase and put it next to the state law, and 9 out of 10, the code will come up. All right, if I can't find it one way, I'll flip it another way. I'm showing you how I do my research, right? They didn't get your consent to do business. You're not on file to do business with the State Department. That's all you got to do is take your name, send it to the State Department. You want it certified saying, let me read it. And this is for New York now, but this could be for any state or commonwealth. You take your name and you want to see, you know how you want to start up a corporation? Like an LLC and all that? You can take your name, Jane Doe or John Doe, and request, and you want it certified, sent back to you. And this is what it's going to say. Well, this is for New York, but basically it's going to say the same thing. I hereby certify that a diligent examination has been made of the index of corporations. Huh? The index of corporation. Because remember back in the day, they said, oh, when they got my name in all capital letters, they said I'm a corporation. So if that's necessarily so, well, why didn't you do a search on your name with the Department of State to prove otherwise? Because they're going to put you in the index of what? Corporations. And it says here, limited partnership, limited liability, assumed names, and applications for authority certificate filed by this department for a certificate of incorporation, certificate of limited partnership, articles of organizations, certificate of assumed name, or application for authority for, of course, I ain't gonna say the name because we kicking ass. So I don't want them to get the information. And of course the name of, it will be your name. It will be your name, all right? And that upon such examination, no such record has been found on file with this department. So if your name is not found on file with this department under the index of corporations, that means that they are operating under ultra vires, which means unfair, deceptive business practices. They did not get consent to even bring you into a civil case or in a criminal case. And this is how you can shut them down. And what you attach to this, you attach this to an affidavit of corporate denial. It's called affidavit of corporate denial, and you attach this certified to the affidavit, and you put the court on what they call is judicial notice. All right? You put the court on judicial notice. This is how you shut them down, y'all. I've been teaching this over 10 years at the National Black Theater. Matter of fact, this brother here was the only brother that's here that can tell you that he used to come out of Virginia down to New York to the National Black Theater. And I've been teaching this since then. Ain't nothing changed. Why I'm saying this is so important is because you can shut down any court case. If they didn't get your consent to put your name in the title action, to bring an action against you, be it criminal or civil, right? You can file, you can shut them down. You can shut them down with an affidavit. And you let them know that you have not done business, you're not in done some corporations, and everything that you're doing is under misrepresentation and fraud. All right, they did not get your consent. I gotta go look for that statute to show you the section. The statute is 28, but I gotta look for the the section to show you that they have to get your consent. All right, this is important. Yeah, he wants, yeah. All right, that's a very powerful document for the Department of State. All right, this is how you shut them down. If they're bringing an action against you, all right, it don't make a difference what court it is. It don't make a difference what court it is. All right, even in bankruptcy court, but little complexity there. That's something that I have to give a class on. All right, seminar on. All right. So you're clear on this, right? Be clear? What we have to do is write a letter to the Department of State seeking the corporate name under whatever your name may be, and you want it to send it back to you certified. So it would read like this, certified, saying that there's no such name as John Blow or Jane Blow or whoever on file. All right, and you can use this to dismiss your case. You can use this. Matter of fact, what you could do is also, you can file it on the court record. You can go to get one of them state jackets or fed jackets, file it there, so that way it will be on file already. Yes, brother.
When you finish filing this, you're still able to pursue and sue them for whatever you're doing, damages or complaints or tort claims.
Well, you got to remember something, brother. You got to be careful, because I dropped the jewel to shut them down, but you don't want to use them against you because it could become a two-edged double sword. You get what I'm saying? If you claim it in one way, they may claim it back to you to say, well, you know, you operating under fraud because you ain't registered to do business. So if you claiming that we doing it, you coming back to say you want to bring a claim against us. So what I'm saying is a double-edged sword. So you got to pay attention that if you're going to do this, there's a certain way you have to do it.
So under copyright infringements.
Something wrong with that mic.
Under copyright infringements and common law.
Well, if you're doing it under that would be different. That would be different.
Common law copyright.
Yeah. That would be different if you claiming it like that. But you didn't say that at first. All right? Pay close attention. Question? You had a question over? All right. Any questions? Matter of fact, what time is it?
You got half hour.
Half hour? All right. Yeah. Any questions, y'all? Come on now. You'll get the best out of me when you got questions. I think Ali will walk with the mic. It's coming back. Yeah, you get the best out of me when you get questions. I mean, listen, I still got a lot of information up here. All right? I still got a lot of information. Like, for instance, I didn't go through it yet because it's a lot. I have to come back. Like, this is for the a petition for writ of habeas corpus. One of our sisters, I'm coming, brother. One of our Morris sisters, listen to this now. One of our Morris sisters in PA was threatened by a judge, by a court order for her to get a lawyer or an attorney. Because she didn't get that attorney, the judge put her in jail for 6 months. But the DA, which I was kind of surprised, contacted the Civil Liberty Union, and a lawyer came and put in a petition for writ of habeas corpus and got her out of there. The same day he put it in, he got her out of there. All right? But even though he got her out of there, there's some language in there that prescribes to the 14th Amendment, to a Moore, because a Moore is going to disassociate himself with the 14th Amendment. All right? And this is why Moors are just as equally important as all our other brothers and sisters who got different movements out there, because everybody have a piece of the pie. Everybody got the piece of the pie. So I don't agree with us banging on each other, especially on Sunnet Up TV. He got a lot of views, but the brothers is out there banging back and forth with each other. And I see that. You know, they're banging on the Hebrew Israelites, they're banging on the Moors, they're banging on this group, the Kemetic brothers. They're banging, and I'm saying, but you know what I noticed? They're not banging on the cracker. Now, when I was coming up, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, they was banging on the cracker back in the days. 30 years ago, they was banging on the cracker about what they were doing. Sonetta and them is bringing all these brothers to this platform, and we banging on each other. But we ain't banging on the cracker. So, yes, I do listen because I want to see what's going on, but it's disturbing to me to see our brothers banging on each other. I've never seen our brothers back in the days did that. Malcolm never did that. You never seen Malcolm do that. Unless the Negro was stepping Fletcher, other than that, Malcolm was banging on that cracker. And he was well articulate on giving you some comparisons about what this cracker would do. All right? And what our people would do because of the conditions of our minds. All right? Even my man Marcus Garvey, when you go online and listen to him, you can hear how he's banging on this cracker. Back in the day, the brothers. Matter of fact, the only ones that I really hear banging on the cracker is the Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites are the only one I hear banging on the cracker. All the other brothers ain't doing that. But they banging on the Hebrew Israelites. Listen, I'm with Malcolm. Any means necessary. If I got to be an ancient Kemetic brother, Hebrew Israelite brother, Moor, Christian, Jew, whatever, to liberate my people and bang on this cracker, to liberate us, that's what I'm down with. You ain't going to not see me banging on my brothers and sisters because his faith and his culture is different from mine. You ain't never going to see me. You notice you never see me on Sonetta? I've been on YouTube for years. You would never, people invited me. I'm not doing that. I don't sanction that. I don't believe in that. I love my brothers. I don't care what faith they say. If it's about liberating our people, I'm down. I'm down. I don't care if you're Muslim, Hebrew Israelite. If you're here to liberate my people, I'm down with you. We may got our differences on our opinions on what we are involved with, but as long as it's for the liberation of our people, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Does somebody have a question?
I just want
Yes.
to back up to the CUSIP number. After
Yes.
we obtained that information, that was in reference to filing something against an official court or?
Oh, the CUSIP number, that's interesting that you tie that in together. Because the last time I was here, the court cases has CUSIP numbers on it. If it's a civil court or a criminal court case, they have CUSIPs, and I'm glad you brought that out, because I brought that out the last time I was here. All right, and that's interesting that you say that, because one thing that it says under 28 U.S.C. section 455, section 4, it says that he cannot have a what? A pecuniary interest, a fiduciary interest. So if you get the CUSIP number on the case, which I have done some years ago, you will see the name of the judge, the amount, and the case. You will see that. That's what we used to do back in the days, to deal with that matter. So it's interesting that you brought that up, but that's a very good question. Yes.
Also, each court has a PSA, which is a pulling servicing agreement, correct?
Well, it's not so much that each court has that.
Each case.
True, but the case is being invested. It's called CRIS. CRIS is Court Registry Investment System. That's what you're talking about. So when we pay our monies into the court, they're investing that. I taught that 15 years ago. I had the chart and everything. You know, that's in my archives. But that stuff is still relevant because they're still slaying our people. So that's what you're talking about. Every state have its own CRIS that you're talking about.
Is it a little different from the federal, because this was like a permanent service agreement with the Federal Reserve or the Fed? Yeah.
No, they're all connected, brother. They're connected because like I said, for my last lecture, this is what I said. And I repeat it because you invoking my thought to repeat this. What's going on is this. They're investing that. The federal government fund money down to these court systems to hear these cases. I gave an example. The example is, see, for instance, there's 1,000 cases for the year that the court is going to hear. And there's a certain amount of federal funding to fund the court to hear those cases. If 100 cases is over the 1,000 cases that they was funded for, those 100 cases should be technically thrown out because they were not funded for those cases that's over 1,000, only for the 1,000. So they got to show another budget. They have to get a greater budget because all these courts have budgets to hear these cases. You know what I'm saying? That's some other stuff that I'll be on. So that's basically what you're referring to. Yes, brother.
Let me,
All right. All right. Brother Ken.
So what I'm wondering is, with this information that you dropped on us today with the CUSIP number and such, when one wants to go into, establish their own business, how does that tie into, going, create an enterprise for yourself?
Good question. When I took up this course, that's a very good question. He must have might be finished wrong. That's a very good question. When I took up the course on CUSIP, one thing that they did say is that you can assign CUSIP numbers to whatever business instruments that you may have. Like whatever stock certificates you may give out to your shareholders, you can assign CUSIP numbers to those stock certificates. So that's interesting that you brought that out. But that's something that they went into. And it's interesting that you brought this out. Listen to this, y'all. And I'm coming to your next question. And this disturbs me because I'm the only one out there that's making this information available. And like I said, there's a bunch of gurus out there. You can hear them on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, Facebook or whatever. But you're not going to hear none of them dropping when I'm dropping because they didn't come, because they wasn't sitting in the place I was sitting in. That's how I know that they wasn't dropping when I'm dropping. All right, and I'm not saying this for ego. I'm talking about the truth, the facts. All right. We had an opportunity to get as many CUSIP numbers as we wanted. They offered that in that course. They only wanted 15 grand for the entire year, and we would have CUSIP numbers 24/7. We could either get CUSIP numbers or assign CUSIP numbers to business instruments. That's what was offered, and I was trying to help us raise that money. Because we keep talking about this CUSIP number, but we were at the place that they offered that information. They offered that information. And I got to go back and continue my courses with these folks. Not even talking about cryptocurrency and blockchain banking, because that is important. Because we have to structure our own financial infrastructure. Because I keep telling our people, and I'll say it again, that what we are up under is economic gentrification and accounting fraud. They are economically gentrifying us. All right, economically. And there's a slight of financial hand because we're signing these instruments and they're converting you from a creditor into a debtor. This is what they're doing. And that's why I'm the only one out there that's saying, let's get your equity. Stop talking about a discharge. Because the discharge, which they don't know, because those who keep saying the discharge, define me with the discharges. And you know who taught me about the discharge? The bankruptcy court judge. Just by listening to case laws, being up in them courtrooms and just listening to what they're saying, so, oh, that's the definition of discharge. Discharge means they're going to sever you from your financial obligation, but they're going to still put the debt into the pot. It's called public debt. So the debt is not going to stop because that's how they make their money. It's called debt equity. Go to investopedia.com into the browser and put in debt equity, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Or you can get the dictionary of banking terms, because nobody's teaching us this. They're talking, but they're not telling you this. Or the dictionary of finance and investment terms, all right, by Dow Jones. They put this out. So you know you're getting raw, excellent information that I'm dropping. Nobody else is putting this out. But I'm keep hearing people keep telling me, Gene Keaton saying this, and Rough Rider is saying that. This one's saying that. I said, yeah, but are they saying this? Are they dropping this? I'm not saying they don't got good information, but you can't keep giving me information after information after information, and when it's time to apply it, you can't apply it. There's no way in the world I'm going to give you information don't apply. This is an order to show cause for a preliminary injunction and temporary restraining order. This is for federal court. All right, that goes with the complaint if you have to do something extra. All right, this is an application. All right, my time is being limited, so I couldn't really go into this in detail. I would have to have a seminar. This is the civil cover sheet. You got to know how to fill out the civil cover sheet. All right, this is what I pulled off of my off the website and printed it out at home, my little office space. This is a complaint for judicial misconduct or disability. I'm gonna pass this around so you can see what that looked like. All right, each one of us should have this. All right, so you'll see what's going on. Because I'm trying to empower our people with this knowledge in law and in equity. Because Article 3 of the United States Constitution says judicial authority should extend in law and in equity in all cases. And this is what they're doing. They're using law and equity as a weapon of warfare against our people. I used to be with the Afrocentric Studies 30 years ago. Ain't none of them is dropping this. Matter of fact, I just missed last Saturday the Reparation Conference at Kimitu. I was supposed to have been there. I was going to drop it heavy on it. If you're going to talk about reparation, you better make sure you talk about removing them goddamn taxes off our people. If you're going to talk about reparation, you better talk about some homestead so we can stay in our home, so we won't be homeless. Right? I was going to hit them with some real reparation. If you're going to pay us reparation, it better be goddamn gold and silver and not no damn legal tender. Right. See, I'm going to be the one that's going to drop the real signs and reparation. Don't be coming with here. I don't want no $1 million to give it back to them. If they got an economic infrastructure to gentrify you, well, why would I have $1 million to give it back to them? No, we're going to take this $1 million, we're going to do blockchain banking, cryptocurrency, open up our own credit union, and pull all our monies out of these banks so we can collapse the banks like the banks was collapsed in the housing market. We have to hit them back the way they hit us. Do you hear me what I'm saying, y'all? Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I study this bad boy night and day, to a point where my wife is getting on my nerves. You love them goddamn books more than you love me. I should burn them books. So I had to turn around and give it to little girls, just to calm her down. I said, whoa, we need this information. You know what I'm saying? So I got to teach my 2 little girls, you know? The older ones is knuckleheads. I love them, but they're not hearing their dad. My daughter turned around and got a car paying $600 a month. I said, bring the contract. Did you know I had to show in criminal law in New York that anything over 25% is usury? I'm showing her this stuff. I said, do you know what kind of dad you got? I wish my father was like me. I wish my father was like me. You got a dad who got knowledge and information to educate you. You and your brothers and sisters, but you're all running, doing your own thing. And the only time you'll see me, like Grandma said, is when you need some money. And of course, I give it to them, and the only reason why, because of the grandchildren. That's the only reason why they kept me out there. You know, that's the trap. Because I got grandchildren with these folks. These strange people. You know what I'm saying? Because my children are strange. They only become unstrange when they want money. But when everything is good, they're strangers. I don't even know who they are. But as soon as something going down, Dad, I need some money. I'm behind in my bills. I give it to them because I don't want my grandchildren to suffer. Yes, brother, I'm still part of it, brother.
That's cool. I just want to get clarity on obtaining the ownership of the bond you mentioned about. I guess it was.
Thank you, brother, because you must have been in the class that day. Because you just started, you know what I'm just saying? You were in the ethos, as we would say, as Moors, you are in the ethos. Because what you just said, because that's exactly what he was talking about. That he said, oh, I get what you're saying. I said, brother, thank you for that. Because they put us on, see what happened is, what they did, brother, is, this is what you got to see, is that this is what they hit us with. So, credit and debt. So what happens is, they say, let me give you an example. Oh, we need your Social Security. I can break that science down too. You don't need to be aware of what's going on. We need your Social Security so we can check out what your credit score is. Yeah. So now the reason why you need your credit score is like, I used to be a loan officer. That's why I know this damn thing so damn well. Besides doing paralegal work, independent. Is because they have to shop around for a bond. Because if you look up this word, guarantee, right? Yeah, look up the word and pass it to the brother with the mic. You got to look up the word guarantee or surety or suretyship. What they're doing to us in here, I don't care if you sign your name as a sleight of hand to any financial instrument, they did that purposely so you could be the surety or to indemnify the bond or operate as the guarantee or guarantor to the bond. So they take your credit score to determine what bond, listen to me carefully, rating. Because they want to sell the bond to make money off the bond to investors. Do you hear me what I'm saying? Guarantee, yes. That's the deal, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
So is that attached to the CUSIP number in areas like that as well?
No, yeah, there's an association between the, like say for instance you got a marriage license as an example.
Okay.
They have what you call, it's called this, let me write it. Let me write it. They have what they call is this. Serial numbers. And the serial numbers comes in what they call is series. All right, and those series are attached to what you call is certificate. I'm giving you some good educational information tonight. All right, because ain't no educator of this is going to come in here and teach you this. So, and where you get this information from, or you will see this display of this from, is from a PSA, a pooling services agreement, or a securitization audit. All right, so you have series. So the series is in this book. Well, so when you look up the word series, right, because each certificate has a serial number, and it's series. What happened is, what you're asking me is that when you get the series numbers, whatever those numbers is, you can get the CUSIP number. That's why I showed the passport to this brother, because all passports have serial numbers or registration numbers, like the green card, but I can help our brothers and sisters from Africa and the Caribbean. They'll be blown away to hear this information. What? This is unheard of. So you take the number from the passport or the green card, and you can get the CUSIP number. And then you'll find, the main issue is to find the bond. Because when they arrest you, if you violated any immigration law, the main thing that they want you to do is submit a bond so they can release you. That's what they do. You see what I'm saying, brother? So that's how that works. But in the meantime, I gotta take some nutrient for my eyes. Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I mean, one time my eyes was crazy blurry, and I took these nutrients that I took, like alpha-lipoic acid. Hyaluronic acid is one of the main ingredients in your eye, because when you have macular degeneration of the eye because of eating sugar or salt that's causing destruction to the macular muscle, then one of the main ingredients is hyaluronic acid. You need the hyaluronic acid to be restored back to the eye. You need the alpha-lipoic acid so it can absorb the nutrients into the eye. And they got other stuff like lutein, those nutrients that helps bring the eye back. Yeah, so I study all this stuff. I got all kinds of medical books with Merck manual. I'm a fanatic. All right, I have like two of my daughters was not vaccinated. All right, and what I did blew the mom's mind, blew the doctor's mind, because I put together an affidavit showing that my children were vegans. And so the mumps, measles, and rubella, I did the research like I do right here, and I laid that out in an affidavit showing that my children are vegans. And what I had to tell the mother, since I know that these people got this mentality of, oh, it's state law, you got to be vaccinated. There's no state law saying you got to be vaccinated. All right, this is what they say, and they're pushing that very heavy. So I said, listen, tell the doctor, listen, I want my children to be vaccinated, but it got to be vegan vaccination, because the vaccinations are meat byproduct. All right, they got all kinds of tissues, and yeah, I hit them in the head hard. I know how to go at them devils. Oh yeah, ain't no joke. I'm buck wild, Chief. I'm like a rock wild on LSD when it comes to them devils.
No, brother.
Yes, brother.
Before we get out of here, veering off a little bit, but when you talk about employment with the W-4 form, what's up with the W-3 form?
All right, the W-3 form, see, guaranteed So, yeah, brother, you see the book wearing out. I go sleep with this bad boy. Listen to this, y'all. This is what I said. You'll ask me questions. You're going to hear something you never heard before. You have what you call, when you go to the employer, he gives you what you call is a W-4 form. Now they're putting in an I-9 form if you're going in for new employment. That's what they're doing now. All right, I got to be up on this. The reason why that, because they want you to check up if you're a U.S. citizen to be able to get the job. That's the reason why they're doing it. We got to be up on it. I'm telling you, I got clients all over the country. You know what I'm saying? So I have to be up on it. So I got to be a encyclopedia when it comes to these devils. They give you a W-4 form to fill out. Then, what they don't tell you is that, let me write it on the board because that's how epistemology, how we know knowledge, by visualization, audio and visual. They give you the W-4 form. At the end of the year, they give you a W what? This is what they don't tell you. Google that. That's going to blow your mind. When you Google the W-3 form, what these devils is doing is creating a fiduciary relationship between you and them as employer-employee. So when you go to 26 U.S.C. 3401 or 3402, it talks about why the employer can take money out on the employee, and the only reason why that happens is because of this W-3 form. Right? Yes, brother.
USC code, you put on the board 26.
Oh, let me look it up. You know my style. When I give resource information, I like to be concrete with my stuff. You know me. I like to be on point. All right. Oh, this brother sent me something. Yes. Let me tell you what's going on. 26 U.S.C. Section 3402. Oh, yes. Yes. 26 U.S.C. 3402 is called income tax collected at source. All right? This is what they say. And then they say that it's voluntary withholding agreement, which is not true. Because there's a case law that I've studied back in the day says that taxation should not be a condition of your employment. There's a case law that says taxation should not be in a condition of your employment, but they're making it a condition of your employment. So when you go to 3402 on the Title 26, listen to what they say. Listen what they say, right? Requirements of withholding. Now they're saying requirements of withholding, but what happened to that voluntary? So they double talk. So here we go. In general, except as otherwise provided in this section, right? Every employer making payment of wages, you hear that? Shall deduct and withhold upon such wages a tax determined in accordance with the tables of computation. This is what they're saying. You see what I'm saying? So now, how did that fiduciary duty between payer and payee, and that's where the W-9 form come in, how that happened between the W-4 when you first apply, and at the end of the year you get a W-2. They never talk about the W-3. The W-3 is how they get the EIN number and apply that to you. But you don't see that EIN number until at the end of the year when you get the W-2 form. So what I suggest what people do is contact you, which you can do this, and find out if the EIN number is it actually the employer's number or is it assigned to you as you being a subsidiary business. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you're going to hear me say, and you're going to hear from nobody else, that if they're doing that, you should convert that name that they have on file to pay you into an LLC. Because the main thing they talk about is tax liability, so you want to be able to kill tax liability through an LLC. Why? Because the LLC talks about what? Limited liability. All right? So if they're going to create you as a business, a subsidiary, you're supposed to take your name and do an LLC, and you shouldn't even have to even get a number, but you have to confirm if that number is number assigned to you. And then what you can do is, excuse me, you can take that information, open up an account with the bank, and do a direct deposit. And this is how you can get a large tax return. I've known to get people large tax returns back when you LLC your name. All right? So get that tax money. Don't run away from the tax system. Get that money and invest that money. Because I'm the only one that was dropping the fact that you can get a municipal bond and get residual income every week off that bond. All right? So take the money and invest it so you can make life easy. Yes,
Well,
let's
look
go.
here, you want to continue this?
Yes,
You want to continue this in another 2 weeks?
You can come back.
That's what we do. We do that.
We come
gotta
back.
get this brother home.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hey, look, and Cash App, Cash App Ali Productions, Cash App,
Oh.
$ ALIPRODUCTIONS. It'll help us out what we're doing, but we gotta get out of here.
All right,
Peace is love.
one thing. I want people to hear this because I was talking about guarantee, and you have to hear this. Very important that you hear this. All right, no, that's all right, brother. It's all right, but it's here. Ah, I had it, I lost it. Backed it up. No, because I got the mic. I want everybody to hear me. To take responsibility, you hear that? This is guarantee now. To take responsibility for payment of a debt or preference or performance, performance of some obligation. You see that? If the person primarily liable fails to perform, a guarantee is a contingent liability of the guarantor it is a potential liability not recognized in account until the outcome becomes probable in the opinion of the company's accountant. You hear that? So they're holding you on the books. We're being put on the books. Now, if you go to Debtor-Creditor Law, Section 131, real quick.